Hello everyone. Today we will discuss section 14 of the Transfer of Property Act, which talks about rule against perpetuity, शाश्वतता के विरुद्ध नियम। इस कंसेप्ट को समझने से पहले एक दो टर्म्स हम क्लैरिफाई कर लें तो ये सेक्शन को समझना हमारे लिए इजी हो जाएगा। फर्स्ट इज व्हाट इज गिविंग लाइफ इंटरेस्ट इन अ प्रॉपर्टी। सी, गिविंग लाइफ इंटरेस्ट मीन्स giving the property to a person for his use and enjoyment, that is giving the possession till his life. And in such a transfer, what happens, once that person is dead, then that possession comes back to the owner and ownership always remains with the transferor. ये तो पहली चीज हो गई लाइफ इंटरेस्ट देने की। दूसरा, परपिचुटी क्या होती है in the eyes of law? When we try to tie up property, that is tying up the ownership in one hand for an indefinite period of time, that is known as perpetuity. Now life interest और perpetuity दो टर्म्स मैंने आपको बताए हैं। लाइफ इंटरेस्ट से perpetuity कैसे बन सकती है ये हम देखते हैं, ठीक है। सो suppose this is a property X owned by a person A. Now what he does, he gives this property for life to B. Then he has made such a transaction where he says that after B, this property will go to C for his life. After B means after the death of B. So to C, then further in the same transaction he has written that after C, that means after the death of C, this property will go for life to D. So what he has done here, he has created successive life interests in the same property. And as I told you that while the property is going on successive life interest, the ownership is tied in one hand, that is with A. So there are two methods by which a person can make a property non-transferable. The first one is that where while transferring the property, you tell the transferee directly that you will not have right to further transfer it. Thereby you make that property non-transferable. Section 10, which I have already discussed in a separate video, Section 10 prevents such kind of situation where it doesn't allow such thing to happen. The second method through which you can try to make a property non-transferable is by creating successive life interests. That is, property goes to B only for his life, to C only for his life, to D only for his life, and so on, ownership being tied at only one hand, that is A. Now that at a certain point offends the law, and that's why we have to study the rule against perpetuity. This section will tell us that what is the limit beyond which we cannot tie up the ownership in one hand for an indefinite period of time. Now if we look at the starting line of section 14, it starts with no transfer of property can operate to create an interest, which is this. Now it starts with negative, so let us draw a situation here and then we will see where are we offending that rule of section 14. So continuing with the same example, he says then this property will go to E for his life, and then, that is, then always means after the death of the life interest holder. Then this property will go to U, who is an unborn person. Now who is an unborn person? That also I have dealt with in a separate video which you can watch. Now here when he says that after E this property will go to U for his life, if this is the setup, let us see where the problem lies. Now let's come to the entire section 14. What does it say? It says that no transfer of property can operate to create an interest which is to take effect after the lifetime of one or more persons living at the date of transfer and the minority of some person who would be in existence at the expiration of that period and to whom, if he attains full age, the interest created is to belong. That means, you look at the word minority, that means A is free to give this property for life to n number of persons. Law will have no problem with it, provided the condition is that all those persons to whom successive life interests have been given, they should be living persons at the date of transfer. इसका मतलब है कि A जो है वो चाहे जितने लाइफ इंटरेस्ट क्रिएट कर सकता है सक्सेसिव, जो एक के बाद एक इफेक्ट लेंगे, प्रोवाइडेड दैट वो सारे के सारे लोग लिविंग पर्सन होने चाहिए एट द टाइम व्हेन ही इज मेकिंग दिस अरेंजमेंट. बट जैसे ही आप नेक्स्ट जनरेशन की बात करते हो, as at the moment you talk about next generation, what happens? Section 14 says that wait, you cannot tie up the property beyond the minority of the person who would be in existence at the expiration of this life interest. So that means problem यहां पे ये है कि इस U को आप लाइफ इंटरेस्ट नहीं दे सकते हो, इस U को प्रॉपर्टी आपको एब्सोल्युटली देनी होगी, प्लस अगर आप उसको पोस्टपोन भी करना चाहते हो प्रॉपर्टी की वेस्टिंग, तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा इसकी माइनॉरिटी तक पोस्टपोन कर सकते हो. तो अगर कानून इस चीज को मना करता है, इफ लॉ इज नॉट अलाउइंग यू दिस थिंग, व्हाट इज द ट्रांजैक्शन विद द लॉ विल अलाउ अस? सो लेट्स सी, A gives this property to B for his life, then to C, then to D, and then to E, all being living persons at the date of transfer. And then what he says that after E's death, this property will go to the unborn person, who of course at the time this man dies, he of course has to come in existence. Now he will get the property absolutely once he attains the age of say 18 years or lesser than this, 17 years, 15 years, 10 years, 8 years, that is fine. But that is the extent which section 14 tells us, that it cannot be beyond this period and it cannot be life interest in the favor of unborn person. So that is a brief discussion about section 14. I welcome cross questions from all of you, and thank you for subscribing, and keep subscribing, keep watching the channels. I would be clarifying the peculiar sections of this act one by one. Thank you so much.